Will India have 80,000 crores, you tweeted about this, available in the next 1 year to buy and distribute the vaccine? It was an open question to the government. Have you got an answer?
Well, I think I won't comment on that also because the government officials and others have made their statements. What I can say is that I'm talking at the highest levels with all the departments in the health ministry and other ministries, and their response has been very positive. I won't go into 80,000, 50,000. I won't comment on any of that. But what they've assured is that there's more than enough and sufficient funds that India has, to take care of all the campaigns. And that's the only conversation that I always wanted to have in good faith. And they've answered that, and they've made all the provisions, which I'm very grateful for. Because don't forget, the cold chain, the storage, the logistics, all of that is going to cost a lot of money. It's not just the vaccine price. And don't forget one more thing. We're not only going to depend on Indian vaccine manufacturers, maybe we'll import some vaccines also. And those vaccines are priced at $10, $20 if you look at the Pfizer and Sanofi GSK vaccines, the Moderna vaccines. So you have to take that into consideration as well. So it's a very complicated situation at the moment, which is now being addressed. And India is fully prepared and ready, I can say, from the interactions I've had with the government. And I can't ask for anything more.
You mentioned cold chain and storage. Where does India stand presently in terms of potentially distributing millions of doses in a small period of time?
Well, traditionally, we have relied on the universal immunization program that's geared up to have, the vaccines go out to the mothers and children in these clinics all over the country. So we'll be largely relying on that. And what I've been told by the government officials that we're going to be augmenting and enhancing those facilities on those locations, to have more cold storage and better cold storage conditions going forward. And look, we'll have to think out of the box and find other solutions and distribution channels as well, using hospitals and other avenues to be able to vaccinate so many people in such a short amount of time.
How critical is maintaining the right conditions and the right temperatures to the efficacy of the drug that you will be producing?
Well, it's very critical. In fact, that's where the challenge will come in for -20 or -80 degree vaccines. In fact, vaccines like Moderna and others, which have to be stored in -80, will probably be a non-starter in a country like India or maybe even parts in Africa because, you just don't have that infrastructure to do it, and it's just not practical. So I think as long as we can have +2 to 8 cold rooms and infrastructure ready, and maybe even -20, which we do have in India, we should be okay. But I think going to -80 and vaccines which have to be stored in -80, I don't think that's going to work in India and Africa and in the developing world countries with the extreme temperatures and lack of infrastructure. And yes, to answer your question, it's extremely important because, that's the difference between keeping a vaccine outside, for a couple of weeks in a hot climate like India or Africa could completely destroy the efficacy. So the cold chain is absolutely essential.
And at what temperature does this drug need to be stored?
The Oxford AstraZeneca,
yes.
That's +2 to 8, so that's no problem. So is the Novavax.
All right.
I was referring to the other vaccine candidates
Sure.
Overseas that might need to have, a better cold storage condition.